So I watched the 1984 McDonald's Massacre on IMDb app, and I recognized something about pressure. Funny enough, there was a sister that said, I wanted my sister to go to work that day because I wanted my sister to be responsible. It was a new job, and I wanted her to be able to succeed in it. And it was something that she said she wasn't feeling well to do today. And that day, that's what she had said. And so later on, they talked to the sister again and say, well, what would you tell your sister now? And because it was kind of like pressuring to tell her that way. So what she says is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for pressuring you to go to work. And that's something I learned from now that I lost you because I pressured you. I learned not to pressure anyone and to teach my kids that same way. If they don't want to do something, I'm not going to pressure them. And I want them to know that too, to not be that way. And it just hit me, just hearing that. I guess it hit me in so many different ways. One, it takes a person losing someone in their life to recognize what pressure and pressuring someone to do something or to think a certain way does. Like, the weight of it doesn't happen until you actually see a consequence on the person that you're telling. So it's not really the consequence of having to hear a response. It's actually having to lose that person and know the distance of life and death. It's not enough to actually have a conversation and say, I don't want to go today. I don't want to go to work today. And on the other side of it, it's also, how can you perform at your best if you don't feel up to it? If you're not feeling well and you're still forcing yourself or you're forcing someone to do something, then they're not going to perform at their best, And I think that's important to look at when we're pressuring. And I think the 1984 McDonald's Massacre, which killed over 20 people and wounded 20 people as well, literally it happened for 77 minutes without being stopped. Which means that all this is a point of pushing limits on people, on violence, just as individuals. And I think that's what I notice with this that made me feel so emotional when I was watching it, especially this part, because it made me recognize that you do know what this problem is and you do know how to fix it, but the substantial momentum to do something with it only comes after a person's death from that same action that you're putting on them. But if you know that could be a consequence of it, why would you do it in the first place? Love you.